Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it happens to be, where you are joining us for the August edition of 3Squares. We're so glad that you are here for the 50th edition of 3Squares. Pretty amazing. A couple of months ago, I'm bad with math, and so a couple of months ago, I projected it was going to be the 500th. So I had an extra zero there. But you have to remember that I took math at the University of Nebraska, where the N stands for knowledge. So, bit of a challenge. So, today we are so grateful to have a wonderful guest from a retailer that many of you may not know, but is highly regarded as a leading retailer across the country. We will introduce her and her company in just a moment. But first, my co host, Susan Schwally and Kevin Ryan.
Hi, Susan Schwally. I'm with QualSites, where I lead their sensors business. What do? We're all about transforming understanding of consumer behavior by being in the moment with the consumer when they're using a product.
And I'm Kevin Ryan with Malachite Strategy and Research, helping food service, consumer packaged good companies, and ingredient companies at the front end of strategy and innovation.
And again, we are so glad that you are with us for 3Squares. This week, we have Stacy Bates from HEB joining us. And Kevin and Susan and I have known HEB because we're in the food system for as long as we've been in the food system, because they have a phenomenal reputation. They don't have shoppers, they have fans. But they are located in Texas and in Mexico. And so if you don't live in that region, you may not be aware of what an incredible company they are. They have 440 locations serving millions of customers in 300 communities in Texas and Mexico. One of the things that I found interesting in doing a wee bit of research, they have consistently been rated as number one in customer satisfaction year over year by one of the leading retail indices, which is incredible. It's $46.5 billion, their sales in 2024, which makes them one of the largest privately held companies in the United States and probably one of the largest that you've never met. And they have more than 150,000 partners or associates or employees, depending upon which term you like to use. Stacy is a registered dietitian and author with over 17 years of experience in nutrition, communications, marketing, education, business development, health services operations, and leadership. And I can attest to all of that. She is the director of wellness nutrition strategy at HEB. As a dynamic presenter, she has a diverse background that includes adult education, clinical dietetics, which enhances her nutrition communication abilities. She is a phenomenal communicator in addition to being a terrific leader. She leads HEB's wellness nutrition strategy, bridging the company's core retail food business with its expanding healthcare services division. And that's what really intrigued me to bring Stacy on. At HEB, registered dietitians like Stacy play a crucial role in improving nutrition literacy and health choices for Texans. Her contributions to retail health and wellness earned her the title of 2016 Progressive Grocer Dietitian of the Year. She earned a bachelor's degree in nutrition science and master's degree in human sciences with a minor in adult education from Texas A&M University. Stacy currently lives in Cypress, Texas, and currently she is with us on 3Squares. Stacy, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, great to be here, Charlie. I'm not sure how I follow that. And I thought for a second about whooping for all of our Aggies in the middle of that, but felt like maybe that would be inappropriate. But great to be here.
Well, I can just tell you that every time I've been to a football game where A&M was participating, the Aggie fans are passionate, respectful, and engaged. And so it's a great group of fans to be around. So, all right, we're going to kick this off with a quick question. I'm really, really intrigued by the unique approach that HEB has taken to integrating wellness support for your customers and your partners, which I think is just really, really interesting. It's such a unique model. So can you describe the elements of that strategy and really what drove the company to integrate healthcare and nutrition?
Yeah, that's a great question, Charlie. And I think if you really kind of step back from the spaces of both food and healthcare, I think we believe there's opportunities on both sides of these industries to really do a better job. As a company, we believe food is foundational to health. And that then made sense for us to really think about, okay, if food is foundational to health, and we believe that the healthcare sector is fundamentally sort of broken. If you really think about how hard it is to navigate, how expensive it is, how complicated and confusing for consumers. So we work for a very innovative retailer. I have the good fortune to work for amazing leaders at HEB who had the foresight to say, what if we disrupted this space? What if we came in and truly changed the way that food and healthcare operated as a food retailer, as a place where consumers are more frequently than they are at their doctor. You think about it, I worked at an outpatient endocrine care center, and I might have seen my patients, if they were in intensive treatment, 4 to 6 times a year. These same patients are in our grocery stores 2, 3 times a week. And so we have a really great opportunity to, because food is foundational to health, really intercept them and create these really comprehensive and integrated healthcare strategies that put primary care clinics adjacent to our pharmacies, adjacent to our stores, and really help us treat our patients, our customers, much more holistically when it comes to food and health. And so I think our strategy is really kind of the key elements when you think about it is we do have in-store wellness clinics and primary care. We do fully own and operate those. We have pharmacy services in the majority of our stores that make it really easy and accessible and affordable for Texans to find healthcare. And then we put dietitians in those healthcare clinics to be able to help those same customers navigate and shop differently. And all of this really stems from, again, that foundational food and health connection, which doesn't mean we're just doing healthcare clinics. That means over on the core side of our business and food retail, we're thinking about assortment, merchandising, promo. We're thinking about how does food as a traditional retailer then start to connect into the work that we're doing in our healthcare clinics so that everything is really integrated into one single shop experience for our customers.
Yeah.
So quick follow up on that. One of the things that I think is so interesting, Amazon, Walmart, others have tried to kind of do healthcare and finally said, we're out, right? It just doesn't work for us because trying to navigate pharmacy benefit managers and insurance companies and just became complex and overwhelming because the food system or the healthcare system is broken. So talk a little bit about what the model is at HEB and why you chose that model.
Yeah, for us, it's really about being a disruptor in this space. I think for a long time, when you think about healthcare, healthcare is operated as a fee for service business, which really drives up cost and doesn't actually ensure improved health outcomes. We in healthcare traditionally have treated people once they're sick, and we've not focused on prevention and holistic well-being of individuals on the side before they become sick. And so as a retailer, we said, what would that look like if and we do everything with our partners first. So always our employees first on our badges at HEB. And I love to share this. If people have never been into an HEB store, it says, because people matter. And we believe that each and every person matters. And that starts with at home with our own employees. We do everything with them first, and then we transition that out to customer. And so I think for us, really, the strategy looks like, how do we disrupt this space? How do we treat our partners? How do we treat our customers? How do we teach them about prevention through food as medicine initiatives before they get sick? And how do we really think about holistic healthcare strategies, whether that's having clinics that are accessible and they're in our stores and they're close proximity to our pharmacies, whether that's having dietitians who are in our clinics and in our stores to help customers shop in a way that's more empowering towards their health. Our focus is really on, again, that comprehensive and integrated approach to healthcare. And we don't accept medical insurance for those services. We provide really low cost, affordable cash pay services in those primary care clinics. Because again, we believe part of the problem is that we've created this fee for service structure that's not focused on outcomes, that's not focused on improving health, that's only really focused on driving cost.
Yeah,
That's pretty
it's brilliant.
fascinating.
I think the disruptive nature of this is so interesting, and if anybody can make it work, it's HEB, and I hope others follow suit. I know it's a tremendous competitive advantage at HEB right now, but it's such a wonderful model, really focused on people first because people matter, and I just have so much admiration for you and the HEB team for pulling that off. So congrats, Kevin.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'd love to dig more into the registered dietitian aspect of it. I mean, because you mentioned that, and you said something about helping people shop. I'm curious how you see the role of the registered dietitian, because I know that you use them. I've heard other retailers using them. I mean, what is your vision for how that role evolves? Because it seems like such a unique role within the retail space, and because a lot of my clients are brands, how does that, or is there a role for the registered dietitian in the retail space and brand partnership?
Yeah, this is a great question. And I think even my role or my 11 years at HEB, almost 12 now, is a testament to the evolving nature of registered dietitians. So when I came on board HEB 10 years ago, 11 now, I actually was responsible for building and growing our registered dietitian program across our company. So
Mm.
putting dietitians in our stores, credentialing them with insurance, because for our dietitians, we do accept medical insurance so that it's less frictionful and we
Yeah.
can increase nutrition literacy and nutrition access. And so that was probably my first 8 years at HEB. The last few years have been more as an internal consultant to connect our core business and food retail to our new line of business and healthcare services. So, how do we navigate that and really make sure that we're building programming and that we're really focusing on our traditional and healthcare operations in a way that's good for customer, but also good for business? So I've seen those roles evolve, whether it's dietitians who are working in retail nutrition that are doing personalized nutritional counseling, or dietitians who are focused on creating programming for in-store or digital. It could be cooking classes, store tours,
Mm.
webinars, educational content. Our team is also responsible for healthcare education. So if you think about HEB, not only do we have 150,000 partners, we have doctors that we employ, dietitians that we employ, pharmacists, and they need continuing education. So your dietitians can be used for internal continuing education. They can also be used for omni-channel influence. So we do a lot of work with our e-com and digital teams on how do we create content for our digital platforms, for social media, for virtual classes. And even beyond that, I think it even goes beyond food. If we think about GLP-1s and the rise of GLP-1s, how are we positioning, like, I myself am also a CDE, so a diabetes educator. How are we positioning really kind of these experts in food and nutrition and health to help think about strategies even beyond food? So as we're solving for the needs of these consumers, we're also thinking about what vitamins, minerals, and supplements, what OTC items, like how can we think more holistically, again, about connecting their traditional retail shopping behavior to what's happening in sort of their healthcare experiences. And so I've seen the roles evolve, even in my own role, it's evolved. I think given the credibility of these experts and just the direct opportunity they have to engage consumers, I think that's only going to continue to evolve. And I think we're going to see retailers and CPG companies who step into this in a big way increase their trust and credibility with their consumer that they're trying to connect with, and be able to really powerfully start to change kind of, and I think this is one of the things we'll talk about, the way that influencers are sort of intercepting these spaces and sharing a lot of misinformation. I think the companies that have used registered dietitians well are able to really disrupt that and build trust with their consumer in a really strong and powerful way.
That's a great lead into my question, which really is a question about trust, right? Because here you are as a grocery retailer and working with all these food companies, and then you have the health side of this. And it sounds like you're doing a wonderful job of merging those two things. But in terms of how have you built that confidence with your consumers? For instance, we're on the website and you're giving lifestyle recommendations or dietitians picks that are specific foods. How have you built that trust? And there's any kind of criteria that you use so the consumer feels like I can buy whatever I want in this store, but when they're giving me the health guidance, this is truly just driven by health guidance, not the food manufacturers.
Yeah, that's a great, well, and I can't take credit for that, Susan. So I will say I am fortunate that, 11 years ago when I came to work for HEB, this company has done a lot of great work in always taking responsibility to do what's best for Texans. And because we have done that, because we've showed up in times of disaster, because we've been a company that's given back to our communities, that's cared about people, we have strong trust with our consumer. And that's something we don't take lightly. There's a saying at HEB that we have, and it's he who serves best profits most. And it's really about our service heart for the individuals that we employ, the communities that we serve, the customers that shop our stores. And so through that, I think given the integrity that we hold in our actions, we've built great trust with our consumers. The power of that, as we think about food as medicine initiatives, is that because we hold that trust with our consumers, they also give us trust to step into some of these spaces that are very different. We're not a traditional healthcare provider. We're a very different healthcare provider. We do have registered dietitians in our stores. And so that trust enables us to step in and have some really powerful conversations, which I think we're a benefactor of But it's something that we're always really thinking about. How do we continue to build on that? How do we, knowing that I call them chief health officer mom, knowing that she's got a million things she's solutioning for, and knowing that we have her trust, the way we step into this space is then, okay, how do we make her life less hectic? How do we start to give her options? Because health and nutrition are really personal. And I think that's also something we deeply understand at HEB is that not every solution is going to look the same for every consumer. And so I know your background's in this space. We've done a lot of work to understand who are
Oh,
these
sure,
wellness
yeah.
consumers? How
Yeah.
do they shop in our stores? What do they need from us? And not kind of putting out this tone deaf message of here's what's perfect for everyone, but really trying to work to individualize nutrition and health in a way that's meaningful and allows us to continue to build trust with those same
So are
shoppers.
you more focused on through the dietitians and the medical care aspect of this, how you recommend foods, food groups, ways of eating versus using like some kind of third party criteria? Like I know there's been retailers that have tried to do, stoplight, healthy, whatever, whatever. Is it more of really coming it through the medical, the care side of it versus criteria or ratings about the healthfulness of food?
Yeah, this is a great question. And I will say, in true HEB fashion, we like to HEB-atize everything. So we haven't really taken on sort of like a national standard or adopted even like the new FDA Healthy that's come out. We've really said because our consumers trust us, because we deeply understand, because of internal and external research around our consumers, what they need and want from us, we've built our own strategy of how we approach this space. So I think we've done a good job, and we still have a lot to learn because this is an evolving space. Our consumers are evolving every day. The science in nutrition is evolving. I mean, if I'm real, I think one of the most frustrating things is that nutrition is a really new science. So there's still a lot that we're learning. So anyone that tells you that they know exactly what you should do and has all the answers, side note to
They
everyone
don't know.
listening, they're lying to you.
Yeah.
They don't. And so I think how we've really walked this space is to really help, again, that family member, that chief health officer mom, figure out how she can take the trust that she has in us and how we can give her some options. And then she can pick what option she believes is going to be best as the CEO of her family. And we've really done that in a way that's been developed by our internal dietitian team, using our chefs as kind of taste and food experts, leveraging our food safety and quality assurance and regulatory teams. And so that's something that we've really created, I think, a unique internal strategy for how we engage with these customers to increase nutrition literacy, but also still keep them in the driver's seat because they're going to know what's best for their health and what their household needs.
Right.
I hope that answered your question, Susan, but it really is kind
Yeah.
of an independently built strategy for
Yeah.
our Texas consumers.
It's flexible and it's a different approach, right? Where you're
Yes.
giving them power within the conversation, but getting good information to them. You need to open a store in Western Michigan because this is one of my biggest struggles as a mother. These guys know this. I have a picky 14-year-old. I'm gonna leave that right there and move on because Kevin has a question.
No, I was gonna piggyback off of the statement which just made about nutrition literacy initiatives. I'm curious of you mentioned the HEB that you've created your own nutrition literacy initiatives and how you talk to your customer. I'm curious, how do CPG brands flow into that? Do they bring their own type things? Are they dovetailing into the initiative? Or, what's the best way if you were a CPG brand to kind of be part of that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways that we can partner with CPG. I think at the end of the day, CPG companies should be our advocates and educators. They should collaborate with retail dietitians because there's a lot of opportunity to do this and also increase public health outcomes, nutrition literacy. But that could look as simple as partnering with us to provide samples for our healthcare clinics to the patients that we're seeing and solving. That could look like in our employee wellness, which our team is also responsible for as we think about that, providing samples or education directly to our employees so that they can be knowledgeable and then engage more readily with our consumers as they're shopping in our stores. It could look like campaign support, educational support. So those cooking classes we talked about, we have an internal partner podcast. We have a wellness newsletter, partnering in some of those assets that go out in store or digitally to be able to engage and inform customers and partners around their health. Or it could just look as simple as collaborating with us on clear, accessible, and accurate nutrition information on front of package or at shelf, or passing complete nutrition information to us as a retailer, so that as we're curating powerful experiences in store and online to our customers, we have what we need to be able to enact those strategies. So I think there's a lot of different ways they can partner. And if they're not already thinking about that, I would challenge them to think about how do you collaborate with these retail dietitians for the best benefit of your brand, but also for public health benefit.
Yeah.
Interesting. So one of the things I didn't mention is that Stacy, as a member of the Academy of Nutrition, serves as the chair of FMI's Health and Wellbeing Council. FMI, for those who are not aware, is the trade association for grocery retailers and suppliers. She's also part of the International Fresh Produce Association's Foundation Board. So putting on all of those hats, in addition to your hat at HEB, one of the things that is a frustration for many in the food system is the power that non-credentialed, less informed digital influencers have over food selection, nutrition, diet, et cetera. Thinking about all of those roles and the conversations you've had with peers across the industry, et cetera, what are your ideas? What can we do? How can we begin to engage more effectively so that people actually have good evidence-based information upon which to make choices that are best for their family?
Yeah, this is a loaded question, Charlie, and one that I love to talk about. Yeah, on top of some of those roles, my role with HEB, I actually also have, and this, a business that I operate on the side that's for young athletes and families. That's part of the book that I authored, because my brain was really, what I would say is the prescription I would add in this space is that as experts, as dietitians who are held to a code of ethics, who are backed by scientific guidance, who are required to declare and disclose sponsorships or collaborative partnerships, it makes sense to me that we are an expert who steps out in this space and starts to get a voice. If I'm honest with you, this space is really scary. And so I think a lot of experts have always shied away from social media, and haven't gotten out there because it's a scary space. There's a lot of criticism that exists. But what happens when we don't do that is now we have non-credentialed, non-expert individuals who aren't required to disclose that they're partnering with someone, and it looks like guidance, but it's really just fancy marketing, out there and filling the gap and educating consumers in 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and it's not always accurate. And so for me, I think that looks like a responsibility that we have as dietitian and nutrition experts to really step out into this space and start to get a voice and start to share accurate information. This space is really nuanced. And what's crazy to me is I will listen to my kiddos and they're on social media and they're watching a video about something, and it's a nutrition snippet that's given in 20 seconds on a topic that's so complex, someone could do a 2-hour seminar on it. And it's like, nope, this is black and white, and this is fact, and this is what it is. And it's like, that's not actually true. And so I think, as uncomfortable as it is, I would challenge whether it's retail dietitians or just dietitians in general to really step out into these spaces and start to have a voice, because we've got to help consumers clear the confusion.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. I think that's absolutely essential. And nobody's going to get it right all the time. And you have to be willing to have a little bit of thick skin and say, okay, well, someone's not happy with that. How do I calibrate and improve? And talking about disclosure, I'm speaking at Fancy, and I had to disclose everything except my blood type. I mean, it was ridiculous what I had to disclose to be able to speak to the dietitians.
Well, and it's so interesting to me, Charlie, because I'm watching these, and a lot of times I'm watching for learning. And in the first 5 minutes, this influencer is coming on and they've got a link to sell you something, but it's interesting that we have no filter as a consumer for the fact that they have a vested interest in selling or marketing a product to you. It comes across as so credible. And I think, again, this is the power of retail dietitians. It's like, I don't get paid for affiliate links. I don't get paid to share these things. I am employed by HEB because we want our customers to live healthier and shop longer. So it's in my best interest as a retail dietitian to help provide really good nutrition information that I'm not profiting off of in any way, to be able to guide you to make better decisions. I want you to eat more fruits and vegetables. I want you to get more lean proteins. And I think it's so important that we start to think about not hawking products, because diets and lifestyles can look so different. Like all four of us probably have very different, equally healthful dietary lifestyles. And it should be about empowering our consumers, what tastes really good, what fits their preferences, not about like you have to buy this one supplement, you have to buy this one product to live well. And that's what so many influencers, unfortunately, they're hawking fear, they're
Yeah.
hawking this FOMO, and then they're selling you something. But
And
like
they're
we're
and they're
not holding
trying
on
to
to that
tell
as consumers.
they're trying to tell you this is a silver bullet. Like this is going
Right.
to be easy and this will solve your specific thing versus the
Yeah.
long haul versus the ongoing maintenance, right? It's not as sexy, but so important. So I totally empathize with what you're saying.
Yeah.
It just
Well, and I think it's
Go ahead.
interesting too, Charlie. I don't know if I can throw this in, but I think
Sure.
one of the things, and I was listening recently, my business partner on the side does the psychology pieces of the work that we do, and just the psychology of us seeing attractive influencers and feeling more compelled to follow them or listen
Right.
to them, even though they really have no background experience, knowledge.
right.
But because of the psychological bias that we have, we automatically see them having more likes and having being attractive as educated and someone that we would follow. And it's just this phenomena that I think is really interesting right now, where it's like likes is determining expertise versus true knowledge and expertise.
Yeah. Dr. Oz wears scrubs. He's got to be credible, right?
Right.
So,
But that
I
attractiveness
would agree with you on the healthy
explains a lot
lifestyle.
of Charlie's
It does.
success. It does.
Well, 100%. I mean,
Yeah. Except for kale. Kale is the one thing we have to eliminate from all diets.
he
But
doesn't
that's
Even
just-
baby kale, Charlie, come on, it's
No.
delicious.
he
And it
doesn't
taste like-
understand
I'm not going to
massaging
massage.
kale.
I'm not.
No,
Why
he
would I
doesn't.
massage a vegetable? There's so many green vegetables you don't have to
Delicious.
massage. I mean, if I want to massage, I'm going to go pay for it. The kale should pay me if it wants me to give it a massage before I eat it. Right? I mean, it's
Stacy,
just
not
gonna
every
happen.
time he travels and is on Delta and goes through what's
Delta
the Delta
Lounge.
thing? Delta
Delta
Lounge. He
Lounge.
sends us the picture of the kale salad and not only complains about kale, but complains about how wilted and bad it
very
looks.
It's
sad.
delicious. It's very good.
I think it's
Traumatizing
negative
at this
energy that I
point.
continue to send to the kale to cause it to wilt in the bowl. So
Oh my gosh. Well,
All right.
and Charlie, I feel you on that because I don't like green bell peppers. It's like a food aversion for me. And
I
I'm a
agree
dietitian
with
and
you
I
on
love
that.
vegetables.
Yeah.
And so again, nutrition and health should be personalized and it shouldn't be
Yeah.
shouldn't be torturous.
yeah, I'm good with spinach, kale, not so much. All right, we're going to transition to the quiz. Stacey, thank you. This has been absolutely fantastic. We could continue for another 45 minutes easily, but we're going to transition to Quizmaster Kevin, who comes up with these fascinating quizzes every single month, and we will turn it over to you.
All right. Well, as always, we're on the 50th episode, so it's getting more and more difficult for me to come up with new topics. But with the kids going back to school this month, I thought lunchbox foods would be a really
Oh.
interesting topic. So I'll start off with the first question. Americans are known as peanut butter loving people. We love peanut butter. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are stereotypical U.S. sandwich fare. However, there are two countries in the world that outpace us in peanut butter per capita consumption.
No
Which
way.
two countries outpace us? Is it A, Brazil and China, B, Canada and the Netherlands, C, Australia and Indonesia, or D, Peru and Kenya?
So this is per capita, not total.
Yes, per capita.
Okay.
I'm going Netherlands, Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, I would be.
I'm with them. We're all gonna be wrong together.
Wow. Why did you guys all choose that one? I'm just curious.
Cold weather just seems like peanut butter is a better option. Kind of.
I live
stuff.
around a lot of Dutch people and they eat peanut butter.
Okay. Yeah.
But
No,
I was
you're all
thinking
correct.
more of like
It's
how
true.
we go.
we're right. Oh,
Yeah, you're right. I mean, what I was surprised at was, you're very correct, is that number one, Canadians eat a lot of peanut butter on bread and toast, no jelly usually, but the Dutch, it comes from the Indonesian background is why they eat so much. So I thought I'd throw it in there, Australia and Indonesia.
No,
I thought that-
Australia's going to do Vegemite,
didn't
not peanut
think that.
butter.
That's true. That's true. Although they do eat peanut butter. I mean, it's not uncommon there. But yes, so the
Peanut
Dutch
butter and
eat-
Vegemite is actually not a bad combination.
I've never tried that combo. Try to stay away from Vegemite.
Kevin, do you know the other thing I thought about is I think we're pretty big peanut producers and we're close to Canada. That might be oversimplifying it, but is
Yes.
Indonesia a major peanut? Oh,
No, but China makes a lot of peanuts, and I don't
China
know.
does.
China does produce a lot of peanuts. I don't know if Indonesia does, but it's very heavy in their cooking for
Okay.
sauces
Yeah,
like
right.
satay type things.
yeah, yeah.
But the Dutch love it on bread with sprinkles. If you've ever been to the Netherlands, you've seen a lot of people eating hagelslag, I think is how you pronounce it. It's the sprinkles. Everybody eats that. They have a whole wall in their section. It's just this sprinkle section. So, yeah. Okay. Doing very well. Number 2, according
By the way, that's never happened.
It has
That's
never
happened in the
happened.
50s.
That's the first
It
time
never
in
happened.
50 episodes.
never happened.
It's
I don't know.
Stacy.
Maybe
It's Stacy.
According to Steve Ettlinger, author of the book Twinkie Deconstructed, Twinkies actually contain real eggs. How much of one real egg is in a Twinkie? Okay. Is it A, 1/8 of a real egg, B, 1/20th of a real egg, C, 1/500th of a real egg, or D, 1/1000th of a real egg?
Can we ask questions or we just have to guess? We can't
No,
ask
you just
where
have to
it
guess.
is.
You just have to guess.
Okay. I wanted to
20th?
know where it sat in the ingredients line of the deck.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Well, that would kind of
Yeah,
give it
Google.
away from a
I'm going to go
Google.
1/20th.
1/20th.
1/20th. Yeah.
Okay, Stacy.
I'm going to go with 1/8.
Okay, the answer is 1/500th.
No way.
According to Ettlinger's calculations, the guy that wrote the book, each Twinkie contains about 1/500th of a real egg, which
do you
Makes
mean
he
by
sense
that?
because those things are like food
Yeah.
that never goes bad. But
He even
I also
says
was
in the
going for
book.
maybe I could, yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was also going for maybe it's what I wasn't thinking. I was thinking 1/500th because they're so non-perishable.
Mhm.
But then I'm
Yes.
like, maybe it's just bizarre and it would blow our mind that it has more egg than we would think.
A lot of the perishability comes from the the emulsifiers and things like that. But yeah, you're right. And even he says in the book, he's like, I'm not even sure why they even have 1/500th why are they using it and still have real egg?
But how do they know? How do they know that?
How does he know that?
It's science, Susan.
It's
Right.
science. He knows the ingredient list, so that
All right,
he's
it's
looking at that.
science.
Zero
All
doesn't
right.
exist.
Number 3,
All right.
baby carrots are typically sorted into 5 sizes by the industry. The smallest, extra small, less than 2 inches in size, are called what? By what marketing name within the industry? Is it A, carrotinis, B, bunchkins, C, nibblers, D, bunny bites?
Bunny bites.
Bunny bites.
Nibblers.
Nibblers. Stacy?
What's A and B?
A was carrotinis, B was bunchkins.
I think nibblers.
Okay. You all are incorrect. It is carrotinis.
Way.
Carrotinis.
Seriously.
So Grimway Farms, which is the #1 producer of baby carrots in the United States, they have the marketing name of carrotinis. You can actually buy a bag. It says carrotinis. So that's the smallest carrot.
Sounds like a
I'm
bad
surprised people
cocktail.
for the ethical eating of carrots is not waiting.
does
I
sound
thought
like a bad
bunchkins.
cocktail.
I made up bunchkins. I thought that
I
was
like
kind of a good
bunchkins.
name.
It is good.
I thought
I
that was a
pondered
good
it.
name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, if
Bunchkins.
anyone wants to buy it that's listening, I can willing to part with that trademark. Okay.
Kevin wants
No.
to retire.
Yeah, Bunchkins is going to be my ticket to retirement. All right. Although at General Mills, they call the little tiny pieces of broccoli that you'd get at from Green Giant floretitos. If you didn't know that,
Floretitos,
so
I
the
did
tiny
not.
little pieces of floretitos are the little tiny
Is
pieces.
that
of broccoli.
smaller than a floret? It's
Yes,
like a,
it's the really tiny pieces
Little,
of
little. I know.
florets that you get. Okay, number 4. If you grew up anytime from the 1970s to today, you are likely very familiar with small fruit drinks that come in squat plastic bottles with the foil lid. You all know what I'm talking about? Okay. They go
Bad
by
church
many
Kool-Aid.
They go by many colloquial names. Which of the following is not a name that they are colloquially known as? All right. Is it A, Huggies, B, Quarter Waters, C, Barrel Juice, or D, Sippers? Which one are they not known as?
Well, Huggies is the
A.
most obvious because it's not intuitive, but I'm going to guess that's not the case because it's so obvious.
Okay.
Give me the rest of them again.
Huggies, Quarter Waters, Barrel Juice, or Sippers?
I'm going to go Quarter Waters.
Quarter Waters. Okay.
Oh, and I say A because that just does not make sense they'd be called that, but I'm probably wrong.
Okay. Susan?
first of all, I've never had one in my life.
Okay. But you've seen them.
I've seen them.
Okay.
I'm with Charlie. I think it's Quarter Waters.
Okay. So technically, you're all incorrect. So technically, it's D, Sippers. No one calls them Sippers.
Really?
Technically, they're called Little Hug fruit barrels. That's their
Oh.
that's their name, Little Hug Fruit Barrels. So calling them Huggies isn't that far away. They are called by a derivative of that of many places. So it's either Littles or Hugs or Huggies or Barrels or Barrel Juice. In New Jersey, however, only in New Jersey, they're called Quarter Waters, and
Really?
Huggies in Baltimore. And then some people even just call them by the color. They call them like, red drink or something like that. But yes,
Or their real name should be Gross. So.
if you grew up at a time and had
That's
them.
very
Oh,
true.
I'm
No.
familiar. I'm
Mm-mm.
familiar. Yeah.
All right, number 5, last one. In a 1992 reformulation of Doritos by Frito-Lay to improve the chips, had an unintended side effect. What was the unintended side effect of the 1992 reformulation of Doritos? Was it A, it caused the chips to curl slightly, which some consumers love, leading to the later invention of Takis? Was it B, it eliminated the dreaded Dorito breath, a stinky, lingering smell that some consumers found unpleasant? Is it C, it dulled the crunch of the chip by approximately 30%, which led consumers to complain that the chips were less enjoyable? Or was it D, the cheese powder seasoning stained the fingers more, with some consumers saying that the dust was so fine that it got under their fingernails and would not come out?
Ooh.
Oh,
I'm going
these are
dulled
really
crunch.
good, Kevin.
I'm going
These are
dulled
really good.
crunch.
Dulled the crunch. Okay, Susan's
Dulled the
locking it in.
crunch.
I'm going to
Lock-
say
lock in.
curled. It curled.
It curled. Okay, so
I think it's either going to be curl or it's going to be the powder, but we've got to go different because otherwise we're a three-way tie because we've
Right.
lost
True.
everyone except I'm going to go dust.
Okay, you are all incorrect.
Oh,
It is B. It's Dorito breath. So
But there's still Dorito
I
breath.
remember this. Yes, but it was really bad before 1992.
Oh.
I specifically, my sister, who doesn't listen to the show, I can say that she had the worst breath ever. It was so bad. We used to actually comment on it, how strong it was. So they got
Your
rid
poor
of it.
sister, she's listening now.
I'm sure she is. But it had something to do, as they think, it wasn't the intended consequence, but it was something about lessening the impact of the garlic powder. It caused the decrease in the dreaded Dorito breath. So, all right, I
Fascinating.
believe
It's a three-way tie.
I
We
think
got
it's
the
a
first one
three-way
right,
tie.
and then
This
we
has
blew
never happened.
every other all the rest of them. Yeah,
Never
so,
happened.
First time, Stacy. First time.
Yeah.
Well, Stacy, thank you again. Such a pleasure to have you on, and hope everybody that is listening has a new appreciation for who HEB is and what HEB does, not just in the health and wellness space, but for all of your customers and all of your partners. It's a remarkable business, and we are very grateful that you joined us today. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Charlie. I appreciate it.
You bet. You can join us again next month. We'll be in our second half of the first century for us. We'll be on episode 51. My blood type is O positive, in case anybody from Fancy is listening. So we hope you join us again in September. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Enjoy the end of summer, the start of school, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks, everybody. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.